Why do some people naturally stick to habits while everyone else keeps starting over? For years, I genuinely believed that I didn't have the time to read books. I would buy more books and just tell myself that, you know what, once life slows down, I'll definitely have the chance to go back to reading again. But to be fair, life never slowed down, and quite frankly, I don't think life is going to slow down anytime soon. I did something interesting recently. I started to lock most of my social media apps within specific times during the day, and suddenly I had time. So at that point that I realized that my problem actually wasn't time. My problem was how I thought I wanted to become a reader again. Today, I want to show you the 3 levels of change. But first, a little context. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and I'm someone who is constantly trying to build an intentional life. I work in marketing and I'm also building my 2 businesses. I create content here on YouTube as well as TikTok and Instagram, depending on how led I am by the spirit. Over the past few years, I think I've become very obsessed with creating systems and structures that stick. Whenever we intend to change our lives, we usually start with the result. So if you want to save more money, the priority at that time is, I want to save more money. I want to read 20 books this year. These particular things are what James Clear would call the outcome. Goals give you a direction, but the real problem is that goals don't change who you are. Goals only tell you what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to go. Once that initial excitement of having a goal fades away, it takes more than just wanting something to keep you on that loop when you can continue to do that thing that you said you want to do. It almost feels like you're chasing a destination instead of being a completely different person. The second level of change is the process. This is essentially where your habits and your system lives. So think morning routine, workout plan, reading schedule, time blocking. Systems are far more reliable than depending on motivation because they help you to constantly take action as opposed to just throwing words around. As good as systems are, even the best system can break if you don't believe the person that you are, because at the end of the day, your habit will always fight to become the person who you believe you are. The third level is identity. Now, identity is more than what you believe your goal is. It's more than the processes that you've set in place. It is essentially who you believe you are. I think James Clear has sort of explained this clearly. Outcomes are what you want. Processes are how you get what you want, and your identity is who you believe you are. This one sentence of identity essentially changed how I thought about habits, especially in consideration to reading. Every action you take is reinforcing a belief about yourself. When you make your bed every morning, you're reinforcing the identity of an organized person. You create consistently, you are reinforcing the idea of a creative person. When you read daily, you are reinforcing the idea of someone who is a reader. Something that I need everyone to take out of this is that the goal isn't to read more books. The goal is actually to become a reader. For the longest times, I kept asking myself, how do I create more time to read? I honestly thought that time was my biggest problem. Quite frankly, I have a full-time job. I create content. I have businesses that require me to be present, to function. So when I wasn't reading, it felt obvious that life was busy because I had so much to do and I still have so much to do. One of the biggest changes that I've done recently is locking my social media. And I think after doing that, I came to an uncomfortable conclusion that I do have more time. I just spend the little time that I have after doing my daily activities scrolling on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and what have you. Now, I'm going to teach you how you can become a reader as well. Once I decided that I wanted to become a reader, not just someone who was trying to finish a book or books or these books, my decision started to change naturally. The first thing I had to do was to protect my attention. I realized that as much as I had a lot of things to do, I still had time in between work, after work, that I would spend doom scrolling on Instagram, on TikTok. It's exciting to doom scroll. Like you sometimes learn things, you're entertained. Like it's good to have all those sorts of entertainment, but I just found that I was spending a lot more time than I anticipated to spend on there because I didn't have control or a mechanism of protection across the social media app. The essence of doing this for me is I'm genuinely trying to make space for the person I want to become. I want to become a reader, and so I had to find a way to permanently lock and protect my attention so that I can help myself become the person who I want to be. The next thing I did was to stop treating reading as something that I only did when I was at home. Started taking my books everywhere. If I'm going to the grocery shop, I bring my book with me. When I'm going for my swim training, I bring my book with me. When I'm going to work, I bring my book with me. So if I'm commuting, I'm reading. If I have 5 minutes spare time, I'm reading. Like, even when I go for events and I have a break of like 10 minutes, I promise you, I'm going to pull out my book and I'm going to read. Those little moments, they became chapters. Those chapters became book. When I initially got back to reading again, this was the method I used. I didn't even have a specific time for which I would come back and set aside to read. It was those spare 20 minutes commuting to work, 30 minutes commuting back to work, the spare 5 minutes, spare 10 minutes. Like, that's how I was able to read and finish books. And when reading stopped becoming a habit on my checklist, I find that I could now create and allocate time for reading. So every other day, naturally, I would do 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the activity for the day. And Saturdays, unfadingly, I would do 2 hours, sometimes up to 4 hours, depending on how engrossed I am in the book. And this happens naturally. I don't watch movies often, but sometimes I'm watching a movie and I just like, you know what, I think I'm just going to read my book. Like, it just comes naturally. Sometimes I just want to relax and not do anything, but I'm just like, you know what, I could just read like 10 pages off my book. Something that stood out to me is that I started to feel like every single page that I read reinforced the identity that I am a reader. Every page felt like another vote for the person who I'm trying to become. Let's go back to the question that we started with. Why do some people naturally stick to habits while everyone else just keeps starting over and over and over again? I don't think it's because they have more time. I don't think it's because they have more discipline. I think it's because they've somehow built an identity that supports the life that they want for themselves. When you believe that you are a reader, it truly stops feeling like something that you have to set a reminder to do. When you believe you are healthy, healthier choices become easy. When you believe you are creative, creating becomes a part of your lifestyle. See, isn't just about managing your time. It's about becoming the kind of person that habits actually make sense for. Because at the end of the day, lasting change isn't built through one big decision. It's built through small actions that slowly become a part of your identity. If you enjoyed this video, I would like to know in the comments, what's one identity you're trying to build this year? If you're interested in more videos like this about building habits, creating structures, and even reading, then you want to stick around, subscribe, share this video to your friends and your loved ones. Bye guys. See you on my next one.